Oi, you!
Oh, I've not done this for ages.
Oi, you! You're a Patrick Troughton fan.
I am.
What's one of the most interesting villains from Patrick Troughton's era that has never been revisited in the show?
Salamander.
What's another one from his era that's never been revisited in the show?
The Great Intelligence.
Welcome back to Doctor Who Review. I'm Chris. It's our video podcast series where we review Doctor Who from the very bloody beginning. It's very, very late. We just recorded the last video a moment ago, so we're going to crack on with this one. The Snowmen, the 2012 Christmas special set between the first half of Series 7 and the last half of Series 7, starring Matt Smith as Doctor Who. Returning cast members Neve McIntosh, Catherine Stewart, and Dan Starkey as Madame Vastra, Jenny, and Strax, respectively. Couple really cool guest stars in this one, namely Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
As the bloody hell's his name?
That guy.
That guy, that guy! As Dr. Simeon. And Ian McKellen as the voice of the Great Intelligence. What's the basic plot, you?
I don't really know.
We watched it like 2 hours ago.
The Doctor is in a big mood. He's grieving, is how Madame Vastra
Talks about it in the prequels.
Yeah.
We'll get to them in another video.
Oh, sorry.
She touches on it in the actual episode.
She touches it. No.
He's retired.
He's sad. He's sad, but he's been called here by the what do they call themselves? What are they called?
He's not been called here by them.
He has.
The Paternoster gang.
Yeah, because he's like...
He's not been called
He's
by
like,
them.
you can't keep doing this, you know.
No. He's chosen here as a place to basically retire. He's chosen this time period and everything.
Was that in the prequel? Yeah.
No, but the prequel's the one where they keep trying to get him interested in cases.
Oh, sorry. Right.
But the implication is he's probably picked here because he has some friends in the area.
Yeah, I guess.
But it then begs the question: why would he do that if he wants to recede away from everything? Of course, the point of this story is he's grieving the loss of Amy and Rory and the fact that he believes it's all his fault. But something in him wants to return to being the Doctor.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he chose Victorian London around the time of Vastra being there as a place to be. Because it means that he is near people who will probably look out for him or
he's probably
nudge
done
him the
that
right way.
River told him to.
Probably. Yeah, she did say don't be alone, didn't she?
Yeah.
So he took her advice. He is a grieving. He's wearing Amy's reading glasses still from Angels Take Manhattan, which is a nice carryover.
Yeah.
They look great on him. They look like a proper Doctor kind of costume item as well.
And he's not wearing a bow tie.
No bow ties and scraggly Victorian dress. He's got scruffy Scrooge-like miser. He basically is in full-on miser mode, isn't he? That's the whole point. He's in a scruffy top hat, which looks way scruffy than the one on the toy. And, he's got tufts of hair coming out the side, and he's a grumpy, miserable old git. And then Snow starts behaving weirdly.
Like it's snowing, but there's no clouds.
Yeah, and snowmen start to appear in streets, and one such snowman is noticed by, at the time we just know her as Clara, played by then Jenna Louise Coleman, and yeah, she's called Jenna Coleman now. She changed her working name to Jenna Coleman.
Oh,
yeah. It happens during Capaldi's era. You'll notice the titles just suddenly change.
Okay. You do you.
you do you, boo. And basically what follows is the perfect introduction to a new companion.
Yeah.
It's a really good story where he meets this person. She's kind of asking the right questions about what's going on. He notices her resourcefulness. There's that wonderful bit later on where their escape plan, they're going to the roof and he's not quite sure what he's doing or what the plan is, but he grabs an umbrella on the way and she eventually pieces together that it's because they're going to the TARDIS because it's up there and they're not going out the front door. And then later on, she's like, I'm like a whole foot shorter than you. Why did you need the umbrella? You brought it because you knew I'd use it. And it's a whole thing of over the course of the story, there's this brilliant chemistry between Jenna Louise Coleman and Matt Smith, where you buy it completely. By the time they're in the TARDIS for that scene, you're like, this is it. Oh my god. The press told us she was joining the show as a new companion. We met her in that Dalek one playing someone else. That was weird. Not sure what that's about. You've got that in your mind when this story starts. And by the midpoint, you've forgotten it. You're just watching this character.
Yeah.
And you buy the journey. And him, like, coming back to his senses. It's wonderful. It feels right. You, the viewer, are like, yes! Yes, he's being the Doctor again! Oh, everything's coming up, Millhouse! And then scary Ice Woman grabs Clara and... yeah. So it's all done on purpose to make you feel a certain way before breaking your heart. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And it's sold because of the way that it's written. This is one of Moffat's stronger scripts, I think, for his era. I think it's his strongest script for a Christmas special as well. Like, I love A Christmas Carol, but obviously a lot of that is relying on your fondness for the source material it's, openly pinching from. Whereas this is like, this script is playing a game with you the whole time as a viewer. It's relying on you knowing how a companion introduction is meant to go, how a Christmas episode is meant to go, wanting everything to be back to normal. Like, it's relying on you to feel certain ways, and then it pulls the rug out from under you several times. And not in we're subverting it just to make it interesting. No, we're being led into traps. The entire episode, we're being led into traps. And it pays off brilliantly. I really like barmaid/governess Clara.
Yeah.
I wish this was the character that sticks around. We can't talk about going forward yet. We'll get to it when we come to it. We're talking about this episode. Don't sigh.
All I did was sigh.
But you know what I mean, though? This is... I'm looking forward to the day where our main companion isn't someone from contemporary Earth.
Yeah.
And this is the little slimmest glimpse of it that we've had in the modern era so far, and it's wonderful. And oh my god, to see this Clara go on adventures would have been so cool. I love that we don't really know everything about her. We learn... it's from her POV at first, and then we learn what she's up to from the Doctor's POV as the episode goes on, because we learn that she's like... her proper job is faking being like a well-to-do, posh, like, governess, like the caretaker to the children at this estate, to the military gentleman. What's his name again?
Bill?
Captain Latimer. Played rather nicely by Tom Ward. He doesn't have much screen time, but he does some really good work with it, as do the kids who play his kids as well. Alice and Digby. Your favourite.
Digby.
The original governess as well, played by Juliet Cadzow. I love the mystery that's set up. Oh, bloody hell! She was Edie McCready on Balamory. That's why I recognise the voice.
Bless.
Yeah. I love the idea that it sets up early on that, the previous governess died in this pond because it was frozen. We didn't find her for days. And how morbid Digby kind of is. All the things he's into are kind of dark and weird, but they don't dwell on it. You just have that wonderful bit where Clara goes like, well, isn't that nice? Just
want to see where she died.
Want to see where she died? Do you want to see what she looks like now?
See what I used to kill her.
I love the plan of the Great Intelligence. We learn that it essentially is a parasitic life form that exists as a consciousness alone, which we knew from... But that's the thing, we knew it from the Abominable Snowmen, and we knew it from the Web of Fear. That it is a being of consciousness looking for a proper physical form. Yeah. We've seen it possess people. We've seen it utilise robots in the form of the Yeti to do the things it needs done. Here we're meeting it at its first appearance chronologically on Earth.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's I never thought about that. So Moffat's decision to go back to a classic villain that is well remembered by people who love that era, but not necessarily like, because it doesn't really have a form. It's not one that's on like T-shirts and lunchboxes and stuff. Like, it's quite cool that he's gone, how about we meet it the wrong way around for it? And yeah, we learned that when it first sort of came to Earth, it latched on to a young Simeon, and kind of influenced its way into his mind to the point where it's in this contained unit, like it's gathering in this snow that it puts out there into the world that's like learning this intelligent, like absorbent in the psychic sense material that looks and seems to be snow and ice. But really it's all in Simeon's head. Like it's a ventriloquist act.
Yeah.
Like even the voice of Ian McKellen coming out of the snow globe, or that brilliant opening sequence where it's coming out of the snowman that Kid Simeon's building.
They're silly.
It's not coming out. They're silly. Just like, what the hell? It's not coming out of the snowman.
I'd like Ian McKellen to say,
it's silly.
You're silly.
You're silly.
Every day. Just for him to call me and say,
You shall not pass. You're silly.
Yay! That's adorable.
A wizard is never late. Frodo beckons, nor is it early. Arrives precisely when he means to. You big silly. It's...
That's the best thing ever.
We are the future, Charles, not them. You big silly. So...
That's amazing. I love it.
So we realise that the entire time it's been ventriloquism, but Simeon doesn't know it. Simeon doesn't realise it. This thing is inside him, and it's been projecting someone or this thing that he talks to and communicates with.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when Simeon's mind is erased, like with the whole setup and payoff of the mind worm, which is a great practical puppet as well. It's proper gross. When the payoff and setup of that happens, it bites him, and we know that when they bite someone, it erases decades of memory.
Like his whole adult life, he said.
Yeah, it's taken away. So the Great Intelligence is like, great, I've got more room. And it manifests in Simeon. So it starts to use him as a physical body, which is accelerating its plan in the first place, because what it was trying to do was find a physical form on Earth to get its shit done, basically. And the way they were doing it, I love this, is the frozen pond. The death, I don't think they ever confirm or even allude to like the governess dying on purpose for this.
Yeah.
But she dies in the pond. It freezes over, and it's the frost created by the Great Intelligence. So it's been the entire time, like she's not in there anymore. But like, no, she isn't.
No, she's not.
But it's remained frozen since they removed her, because it's been his frost kind of like storing and studying the DNA that was in there.
It's the same water that she was in, because it's kept her memory.
Yes, and it creates a physical version of her out of the ice, which is kind of broken and not really working properly. And it's just repeating stuff she did. We learned that she was a rather nasty governess, and it's immediately just like berating the kids as it's walking around like a weird, freaky Ray Harryhausen can't be asked today, he's going to do 3 frames a second thing following them around the house.
Yeah.
Which I get the look of it. They're trying to go for the idea that it's kind of cracking like ice. But it also... I don't think it look... I think it... I don't know if I hate or like how it looks, really. I think giving it sharp, pointy teeth to match the snowmen makes it unfortunately look just like a weeping angel made out of ice. Right. Which is a shame.
Yeah,
because it doesn't stick out as a unique design because of that.
Yeah.
I wonder if it should have been a practical effect. I'm imagining what it would have been like if this was like a McCoy era story, which this absolutely feels like it could have been. Doesn't it? This feels like the sort of story that like would have been in the McCoy era.
Yeah.
Or I mean, hell, even the Tom Baker era could have done a story like this.
Yeah, I can
leaning
see
into
Tom
the
Baker
Hinchcliffe Gothic kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see Tom Baker.
But just imagine if in that era that character would have been a practical makeup effect, and it would have looked really creepy. Or really goofy, but the person playing it would have made it creepy. I like the governor stuff. I think that's great. I like that they have a running joke with the kids like, use your secret voice. She's like, hello, loves. It's like, ha 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 ha. No, but seriously, that's just her real voice. Like,
Hello, governor.
See, younger viewers may not realise, before iPads and Sudoku, people had to put on Cockney accents to amuse children.
Well, we still do that.
Yeah, in a way. So that's basically what's going on. I like that. I think that's lovely. Is there anything in this, before we get into stuff that we really like, just pointing out things we think are really good, is there any stuff in this you don't like that is related to this story and not about your future bias for the character that's going to recur?
That is a question.
I don't think there's anything about this I dislike.
No.
It's weird. It's like, that doesn't make it like, oh my god, it's a monumental what, like, it's not necessarily one for the ages, but it's...
London was too clean.
Oh dear. Well, it was covered in snow for half of it.
No miasma. No.
Not enough grime!
Not enough miasma.
No, but I mean stuff you don't like. Like, I think for me, the stuff that... The negatives are just nitpicks. And that kind of says great things about the execution of it.
Damn it, you're right.
I think this is a really strong episode.
Let's
just talk about the stuff we love. The one-word answer conversation.
That was very impressive.
When
Jenny
brings Clara to Vastra. Well, the whole point is she's saying, like...
She's trying to just get to focus.
That, and also, like, they don't know who she is. They don't trust her. They want information. Like, why is she looking for our alien friend? So she's like, one-word answers, because one-word answers are concise and to the point. You can't lie or come up with a story. Like, get to the point. And then, of course, that's wonderful, because when... You know, she tells a big thing about the Doctor being fierce and horrible and this, that, and the other. Clara's response is just words. It's so... Like, you know that is dialogue, or that idea for dialogue is something Moffat's had in his head for a long time. For whatever project it is.
Yeah.
And he gets to use it here.
And Vastra's slightly taken aback.
Yeah, and Jenny's just smirking.
Like, oi.
We've talked about this before, and if you've never seen it, there's a wonderful video here on YouTube called "Why Sherlock is Garbage and Here's Why," or "Sherlock is Garbage and I Can Prove It." I can't remember. Search "Sherlock is Garbage" by H. Bomber Guy.
It's very funny.
It's very, very good, and it's just a brilliant, well put together like piece of media criticism about Sherlock and Moffat's writing style and things like that.
Even if you've never seen Sherlock, it is very funny.
He makes an amazing point in it, which since I saw it, I'm like, God, he's right. We've talked about it here. Moffat should just write pilot episodes for things. Because he obviously writes amazing stuff under other people, but when it comes to his own series, he should just write the pilot. Because he always does introductions brilliantly.
Yeah, we've talked about this before in like Jekyll and stuff.
Jekyll's opening episode is the best episode of Jekyll. The first episode of Sherlock, the pilot version, the 60-minute version, the cheaper looking one that's as an extra on the DVD, is excellent. The actual first episode is pretty good too, but it contains a lot of fluff that is there to build up to a series arc that isn't in the pilot version. But like the 11th Hour, amazing opener. Part 1 of Series 6's opener, The Impossible Astronaut, amazing opener. Asylum of the Daleks, rare miss. But then he gets 2 more openers in this series with the Snowmen, which feels like an opening episode of a new cast. And then the Bells of St. John, the one after this, is also a really strong start. Like, he's very good at that sort of stuff for the most part. He does such a good job. And this is full of some of his best ideas, and especially comedy beats. Could you please tell the viewer/listener what your favourite thing about this story was?
Strax. Oh my god, so funny. So funny. He's just so... I don't know, it's like they've just turned the aggression down on a Sontaran. Like, he's not fully baked. He's not a fully baked potato.
He's a Sontaran that's been forced into domestication.
Yeah.
He's a wolf that's been turned into a dog that plays fetch.
Yeah, and I love it. I'm here for it. It's funny. It's a shame what it does to the...
That's the thing. Going forwards, it sort of affects the Sontarans a bit, but that's not down to Dan Starkey
No.
or Moffat's writing at this point.
Well...
No, at this point it isn't, because, Strax is an anomaly. That's the point. No, but that's the point. Strax is a one-off.
Yeah.
And it works brilliantly here. Again, we'll talk about the little spin-offs and prequels in an upcoming episode, because the Snowmen has 3 prequels. And one of them is not necessarily a prequel to the Snowmen, it's a tiny sequel to A Good Man Goes to War, but it's setting up that this is how these 3 ended up together.
Yeah.
Because obviously the last time we saw these 3, they weren't a team. It was Jenny and Vastra, who we have now learned through this are also married.
Very keen.
They're not just in a relationship, they're married.
How is that? How?
Silurian stuff, secretly married, doesn't matter. Oh god. And the fact that, like, this confirms that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is basing the Sherlock Holmes stories, again, meta-referencing with the fact Sherlock was on at this point, written by Moffat. At one point, the Doctor pretends to be Sherlock Holmes to get into Simeon's office.
Yeah, really badly.
It's funny, though. But I love that he fumbles it, and then his actual deduction of what's going on, Simeon just looks horrified, because he's like, oh my god, he knows, he understands, oh my god.
I thought he was stupid.
And he sets the bell to, like, get security or whatever, and then the Doctor just casually, like, sonics the lock shut on the door, because he's clearly heard him using the bell, and it's like, ooh, this is good. This is very well done.
Bell isn't a subtle sound.
No, but he also is hoping that he's distracted by the fact that he's yelling at this big snow globe. But, like, yeah, the whole thing with Vastra and Jenny, and the fact that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's changed some details because, as Simeon pulls back her veil, looking at her Silurian face, because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Like, the idea that he's just completely unfazed.
I think that was very... Yeah.
Because it's just like,
that's very
okay.
Correct.
Interesting. And also immediately establishes him as someone who's like, I don't care who you are, what you're doing. I'm not fussed. Like, he even knows who they are. Like, he talks about who they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's done his research. He knows who might try and stop him.
Yeah. But Strax.
Wonderful.
So funny.
Mr. Holmes. Like, just all those little... Like, him learning to be playful, essentially.
Yeah.
The gender joke isn't old at this point. It's quite funny because it's the first time, really, it's been happening. Mm-hmm. And it's Dan Starkey's delivery of, like, silence, girl. Sorry, lad. What is he doing?
Jennifer was just, like, staring at him, wide-eyed. That's very funny.
The gag with the memory worm with Strax is so good.
It should be so stupid. It is stupid,
like, it's so obvious, funny. And then they pay it off with the bloody carriage gag.
I can't.
Where he just sticks everyone to the carriage after having erased an hour of his memory again. He's like, it appears I've been run over by a carriage!
It's so stupid, but it's so funny. Every time I laughed in this episode was because of Strax.
There was a few bits where it was like Clara or the Doctor doing something like a reaction to each other. No, there was a couple bits where she got you because you went, damn it.
No, I was saying damn it because...
No, there was a couple Clara moments in this.
I'm drowning.
But, like, again, the setup is brilliant. Like, obviously, by the end of the episode, you realise there's an element of fate to why they've met again.
Yeah.
But it's foreshadowed in her having to come up with one word to say why the Doctor should be paying attention to her. And she, of course, describes something which he needs to investigate, which just so happens to be the word pond. And that's what kind of gets him to come round and be like, God damn it.
And of course she means pond at the front of this house.
Yes, but like and he knows that, but it's that whole thing of, oh God, and the way the camera just subtly focuses on the foreground of the shot, on his reading glasses, which aren't his reading glasses, they're Amy's reading glasses. I love the idea that, over 1,000 years of time and space travel, and apparently he's got a bit of bad eyesight for reading, or at least in this incarnation does, and hasn't once thought of getting some reading glasses.
I know.
It's like, that's quite funny. And also, it's that beautiful notion in that episode of, like, she's getting older, like,
But what's really funny is, if you think about it, David Tennant wore the glasses
looking clever.
Wore the glasses just because.
Which we now know the Fifth Doctor also did.
But now it's like, he doesn't wear them, even though he needs them.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is really funny.
I just, the more I think about this one, the more I like it.
It was good.
The Doctor doesn't realise by the end of this episode that it's the Great Intelligence. He hasn't twigged that. There's a moment at the end where he looks at the business card of Simeon, the Great Intelligence Academy or whatever it is, And he's like, why does that?
Foundation.
He says, like, why does that ring a bell?
Mm.
And you're sort of like, do you know what? Fair enough. For him, it's been like 700 plus years or whatever since he last tangled with it.
Mm.
So fair dues. But of course, like the use of the lunchbox with the London Underground on it accidentally gives the Great Intelligence an idea of using it later as a hiding place, which Vastra foreshadows. I love the I love the sequence. What's her name? Is it Francesca?
Oh yeah.
Is it
the
Francesca?
Maid. Is it the maid?
Franny, yeah. No, hang on, no, Franny Latimer. No, it's not the maid. What is her name? I can't find it. I'm on a quick scan through. Oh, that's Digby, Francesca Great Intelligence, Vice Desk Governor, Uncle Josh. I don't think she's credited here. That's really annoying. But yeah, the head housekeeper, who is absolutely bricking it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she is. Maybe she's a Latimer in the sense that she's, what do you call it? Like his sister or something, and she's the head of the staff. I don't know. Point is, the bit where she's just seeing like 80 different things that are freaky and weird in a row.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a gentleman friend, and we've been kissing, and it's like, what the hell? And the fact that Captain Latimer's only sort of first shock and reaction to all of this is just, oh, you have a gentleman friend, because he clearly fancies Clara.
Yeah.
But her just bumping into like there's the bloody ice governors at the top of the stairs, and Strax wandering in, and Vastra and Jenny's like, hello, I'm a... Like, this is before Moffat just uses this as their only character traits in terms of what he writes for them to do. But, like, hello, I'm a lizard woman from the dawn of time, and this is my wife. At that moment, it's just... Because Vastra's not doing it to freak her out. She's just being formal. That's just how she's introducing herself. Yeah. It's just like, what is going on? It's the payoff of that and then her fainting is so funny.
It is funny.
It's really, really good. Laser monkeys, yes. Was it acid fish? Yeah, sure. Like, what are all these weapons that Strax is describing? Grenades. Let's get to the best stuff. I love that the snowmen actually do look quite freaky.
Yeah.
And essentially it's a lapdog. It's like a physical form, not of the Great Intelligence, but it's got something that it uses as a barrier or as a thug, basically. Which is true to form, because later on it creates robots that look like Yeti that do that.
It makes me think of that Jack Frost video cover.
What, the horror film?
Mm.
Or the one with Michael Keaton, which also looks like a horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the simple design. I wonder if they were practical. There's definitely CGI involved, but I wonder if they were all CGI or whether they're practical, because they look simple enough that you could have done them as a practical effect.
Their faces were CGI.
If anyone knows, let us know down below. I really, 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 really like the idea of the TARDIS just sitting up on a solid cloud out of reach. And they don't explain it full on, but we as the viewer who've watched long enough now are like, oh, it's a perception filter. People can't see the ladder from a certain point.
And the what does he say? The stairs up to it.
He says this is like the dimensionally transcendental. They're taller on the inside.
They're shorter
on the inside. Like, it looks like a high staircase. Like, how do we get up so high so quickly? And he's like, oh yeah, they're shorter on the inside. It's like, that's funny.
I wish all stairs were like that.
I love her reaction to the TARDIS.
Yeah.
It's smaller on the outside. All right, that's new. Because it's still the same wonder. It's just no one's ever phrased it that way before.
I like that she goes up there on her own.
Yes.
Because she's like, what the heck? And
what the deuce?
She knocks on the TARDIS, and obviously the Doctor comes out. And she just, like, hides around it, and then the Doctor comes out and tries to find her. That was such a cute little charming moment.
And the fact she doesn't go in, she sort of is like, she gets second thoughts and flees. And
that's what's annoying.
Drops a towel earlier, drops her shawl here. We were joking about she's going to like leave an arm behind at the next scene. Like, more clues.
What's really annoying,
I found an arm. This belongs to you.
She's really charming in this.
Stop looking forward. Stop looking forward.
Okay, it's really good. She's really charming.
That scene of them arguing on the cloud, the single shot, and I'm sure I've seen this in a confidential or something somewhere. No, confidential was gone by this point. It would have been an online featurette or whatever. But I'm sure, because the way the set for the TARDIS normally is that the doors are on their own kind of little platform,
right,
and then the set is inside, obviously, a structure.
Yeah.
Very rarely do they film... Very rarely do they use the doors of the set as an exterior shot of the TARDIS. Normally, they will film with a box whenever they're filming the exterior. Yeah. Here, they attached the box. They removed the doors off the set, because normally the doors on the set are still TARDIS doors.
Yeah.
Just because if they ever want to get certain shots of like them peering through the door or whatever, and they need the full set in the background. Yeah. But what they did here is they took those doors off, put a TARDIS with the back wall removed up against that entrance.
Right.
Which kind of works here, because when you see inside this TARDIS now, there's like a little mini corridor with black piping coming from the front doors. Right. So obviously on the inside, they just put that black piping on the inside of the doors. Oh. And then they created a green screen platform and like space on a raised platform to meet the doors of the set. So instead of it being, here's the set, one big shape, doors are up here, bit of a ramp, and then some stairs. It was, doors are up here, we've built a big platform, put a green screen up over here, covered all this and whatever we need to do, pump in the dry ice, and then we've done it as one single shot following them into the TARDIS. Which is, it's such an impressive shot, and they try to one-up it in the 50th as well, with her motorbike, her moped going into the TARDIS doors and straight into the set, and it does look really good in that as well, especially in 3D. But this is glorious, because it's also the debut of a new console room, which I don't hate at the moment. I get very bored of this console room over time.
It's quite cold.
But like you said when we were watching it kind of fits this story.
Yeah.
Like he's being a grumpy little hermit miser man.
Yeah.
So it's like he's sat indoors with the heating off, reading his book with like low candlelight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it kind of works. And there's still, because of the blue and orange lights in the roundels, we've got roundels again. The blue and orange lights in the roundels along the back walls. When she goes in and the lights turn on, it looks, in that shot, it looks glorious. It's such a great introduction. Who directed this one? Because big props to them. Saul Metzstein. Really, really good looking episode.
It's a beautiful episode.
But then the thing that hooks you into what's coming later on is really well done as well. Clara dies. She falls from a great height. Some Sontaran tech keeps her alive long enough for them to assess it. Strax he doesn't say it outright, but he's basically giving off the vibe in these little cutaway shots of him being quiet that like we can't do anything. She's going to die.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's kind of like desperately clinging on to the idea of being able to save her somehow. And before she passes away, because she saves the day, she uses the whole psychic connection thing that was established earlier of like extreme emotion against the snowmen can affect them, like, you know, extreme thought, like that. They tried to get the young girl to like
Franny.
What's her name? Not Franny. Alice. Actually, hang on. Alice is the maid. Franny is Francesca is the girl. I got confused because I looked at a Wikipedia article and she looks like older, and it's like, no, she's not. Oh, she was also Lily Potter in Harry Potter: The Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, So what were we talking about? Franny. Clara tries to get Franny to unimagine her. Like, imagine her melting. She's like, I can't. It's because she's too scared. Like, completely understandable. And then she gets Mr. Punched. You've been Mr. Punched, bitch. That's what the Doctor says. Before noticing he's wearing the bow tie, which is lovely.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've noticed as well, hair and makeup do a great job in this story of this episode of telling the story, because he goes from the tufty scruff hair to by the time he's in that scene, his hair's slowly been getting slicker and more styled.
It's like...
And then by the time she's introduced to the TARDIS, it's just the hair we know him to have.
It's like he
slowly physically transforms back into the Doctor.
When he's on his own, he doesn't look after himself. But when he's with somebody else, he looks after himself because he has to look after them.
Yeah. And then this outfit with the bow tie kind of sticks around.
It's very dark.
Because Series 7B is the debut of the more traditional Doctor kind of costume with the Victorian frock coat. The white coat? No, the frock... But like with the frock coat and the waistcoats and the pocket watch. And it's basically a old school Doctor Who version of a Smith costume.
Yeah.
It's this costume, but melded with his Series 5 one. You know what I mean? Like, him, once he puts the bow tie on in this, I'm like, this is basically an alternate version of the costume he spends the rest of his tenure in.
Yeah. Is it slightly purple?
This coat, it's more of a burgundy kind of reddish colour.
No, in the future.
Yes, it is purple. It is purple. Yeah, just there's so much lovely work in this, and the mystery of Clara is done brilliantly. Because there's a moment earlier where she mentions, "Have you got a kitchen? Like, have you got a refrigerator?" It's because she realizes she's going to like join him on his journeys. She asks if the ship has a refrigerator because she likes making souffles, and he sort of goes like, "Souffles," and it doesn't linger, but he's just kind of like, "Huh." And then at the end, run, you clever boy, and remember. He remembers Oswin.
Yeah. And
he sees the grave after the funeral, and it's Clara, Oswin, Osgood, Osbad, Oswald. Sorry, Joel, I had to do it. It's Clara, Oswin, Oswald.
Yeah.
And then I love that that's the tail end of the episode, is him being like,
it clicks.
"Oh my god, I've met her twice.
I recognise...
She died. We didn't see each other."
Hold on a second.
Yeah. He didn't see Oswin, he heard her voice.
How did he hear her voice?
Because she was broadcasting over the tannoys in the asylum.
Yeah, but she was a Dalek.
Yeah, but she wasn't. She was broadcasting in her voice.
Yeah, but how?
Because it was an internal broadcast. It wasn't the Dalek talking into a microphone. It was her, like, her mentality in that little prison she kind of made for herself, that cell,
but she
broadcasting
wasn't real.
outwards.
Like, the...
Well, she is and she isn't. She's
not real.
No, it wasn't a Dalek sat there broadcasting messages to him. It was all in her head. Whatever projection she was doing from inside was inside her head. The same reason why she'd been able to create this reality for herself. Because she's very, very clever. It's all about programming. It's all about computer programming. So whenever they heard the voice, they heard a voice of this woman. Yeah? But then when he was in the room and she was actually talking to him with her mouth, it was a Dalek.
That doesn't really make sense.
But also, it's not about the fact that he recognises the voice, it's he recognises what she said. That's the point. So it's entirely possible in that story that they heard a voice and it wasn't exactly hers, but it still said the things she said. Do you know what I mean? Flirting with Rory and everything. She still said those things. I love that he puts it together and he's like, that's the thing. Like, she kind of brings him back and then he loses her. And then the mystery reawakens him again. He's like, wait, hang on. Hang on. Like, I've met her twice and she died both times. Like, this shouldn't be possible. And off he pops to try and find her. We get a glimpse of present day, the Clara we're going to meet. We get a glimpse of her briefly. Taking a shortcut through a creepy cemetery for reasons. And then it ends, and it's a really cool ending.
Merry Christmas, children. Your governess that you really love dies on Christmas Day.
After the other one drowned and was found in tears. Everyone except for governesses.
Except for you.
I really like the Snowmen.
Yes.
I like it a lot. What do you think?
I liked it very much.
2 thumbs up from us. What about you? Do you guys like the Snowmen? Do you agree that Stephen Moffat should only ever write pilots or series openers?
Do you agree that Stephen Moffat should keep it in his pants?
That was in the last video, dear. Let us know down in the comments below.
Have a good time.
We'll be back very soon to continue Series 7.
Will we? We might just stop now.
Nope.
I reckon we'll stop.
Nope.
It was nice. It was really fun to do this, guys. It was nice to meet you all. This is where it ends.
It's just me. It's just me in here.
There's no
You
more.
just met me.
There's no more Doctor Who after this. It's really sad that it ended there.
Next time on the show,
end. Goodbye.
not Chris faces her Clara fears
Goodbye.
with the bells of St. John, the rings of Akaten, and Cold War.
Yeah, but these are all mythical. They've never.
Tatty bye! See you soon!
By the end.